Amen. It's your boy D-Dub in a Review Your Life. And no, your eyes don't deceive you. You're indeed looking at a female monkey avatar with a grown man's voice over it. And no, I ain't a furry either. I'm black. Welcome to the last Patreon suggested video of the year. And what a way to end it off with something that none of my demographic has even heard of. But let me show you what it was up against before we get things started. Chirac. Huh. Okay, a Spike Lee joint on the subject of sex being used to prevent violence in the crime capital of Chicago? Huh, not a bad concept. Oh wait, is that a rapping bald Nick Cannon? I ain't watching that shit. This Christmas. This realistically should have won given the time and the month. And truth be told, I already started writing the script on it because I thought it would be a blowout. But my patrons continue to surprise me. Shame. Everything could have came full circle. Legends of Chamberlain Heights. Nah, cuz. Watch Mars's video on it instead. But we want your take on it. Oh, cool. In that case, I don't have one because I never watched the show and Mars's video is responsible for that. Black Death. Album Black Death. An all-black heavy metal band from the 80s, huh? Is that Xavier Woods? I must say, the album isn't bad. It actually sucks that this is their only project. Like, these guys are a shoo-in to work alongside Death Grips in current time if they were still active. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, our feature presentation stars Robert Townsend, a director, producer, screenwriter, you name it. And more than likely, this is your first time hearing about him. So I'm gonna just call him Lil Nas X from now on. And no, this isn't a diss towards him in any way, you homophobes. He just really looks like that nigga. That being said, I knew nothing about this man's existence before making this video, and I'm starting to think that that's rightfully so, considering all the D-level content he's been putting out through the years that I've also haven't heard of. No doubt that he's a creative mind, but as far as talent goes, he certainly hasn't impressed to push relevancy. I mean, what the fuck is this? Now, I do respect that within the industry, he's the GOAT. And very nice, which always explains the willing cameos he has in most of his projects. I mean, in 2001, he somehow got Beyonce, Bow Wow, Mos Def, Wyclef. Who are you? So yeah, Townsend had pulled up in the game, coming up as a comedian, and eventually lumped into a pretty infamous clique called the Black Pack, consisting of Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Keenan Ivory Wayans, and Paul Mooney.
Don't get too fond of me, because white folks come in and take me.
The group was mainly made just because they were all casually hanging out with each other. And it seemed like Eddie wanted to do more, and the others just weren't down with it. Anyways, Eddie got big after Raw, Arsenio Hall got big after Arsenio Hall, Wayans got big after In Living Color, Mooney got blacklisted for being too funny, and Townsend, I guess Hollywood Shuffle, but I'm too young to know if that shit was hot in the streets back in '87. Someone please inform me. As disrespectful as I'm being, I for sure cannot knock on this man's drive to get some cinema out. There are consistent tales of Townsend going broke and using several credit cards to fund his shits. And on top of that, he directs, writes, and acts in most of his films at the same time. All at the same time. So when this movie in question was brought to my attention, and I researched to find out he does the exact same thing to get it out as well, I was like, oh shit, this finna be ass. What's huh? Bill Cosby's in it. Bill Cosby usually doesn't agree to anything. Let me peep this real quick. So I present to you my review of 1993's The Meteor Man. And don't worry, 80s babies out there, I won't step on your nostalgia toes too much. I promise. The film opens up with the most terrifyingly loud explosion sound effect to reveal the title card as copyrighted Michael Jackson plays in the background. And right off the bat, I knew that this film cost about $1 million because not just anyone is allowed to play MJ music willy-nilly. The budget also continues to reveal itself as the credits for the upcoming talents are all notable names. James Earl Jones, Don Cheadle, Debo. But what was going on here? I should also note that this would be considered a lot of these actors' big breaks, so to speak, considering that Eddie Griffin and Don Cheadle were just extras in Hollywood before this film. Now, whether or not they started getting bigger roles after this film is for you to decide. We pan to Nas X in his apartment getting ready for his day, greeting all the tenants with his happy-go-lucky attitude.
Good morning, Mr. Moses.
X eventually ends up at his job, substitute teaching at a public school, where he meets his best friend Eddie Griffin, discussing a concert that they're gonna hit up later tonight. And this is where the movie's main character really shows his true colors, because I can't tell if he's trying to act nervous on purpose or not, but this dialogue is awful compared to his co-actor.
Deborah's bringing her cousin Denise. She's kind of fat, but she's got a cute face.
Cool.
Nita's bringing her girl. Says she's a 10.
That's cool.
Without a weave, she's a 6.
Cool. That's cool.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It is revealed that Lil Nas' character arc is that he's a bitch, and he's okay with it, and he wants to push that agenda for future generations.
Mr. Reed said that we should run from the bullies, and that Mr. Reed encourages the smaller kids to practice running, hiding, and eating their lunch quickly.
I didn't say quick, I said rapidly.
We then get this scene of X and his parents running into drug dealers and a young Don Cheadle on the street, going out of their way not to get involved, but old man ain't no pushover, so he sets an example by wanting to smoke.
I said, give me the green. You lucky that didn't break, old man.
Come on, man.
See you later, old man.
You don't have to see me later. See me now, punk.
I love this guy. Who is this? Rafiki from Lion King. I love Monkey. The confrontation with Nas's dad comes back to bite him later, however, as the gang in question scopes him out. And before I continue, I didn't know where this movie was tone-wise until I saw this scene of two 7-year-olds robbing this grown-ass woman, and then this entourage of blonde black man pull up afterwards. What, a tiger? It's the type of cartoon villainy that screams 90s. And from that point on, I knew that this film only reached entertaining peaks for the young and the baked. I just feel like my intelligence was being challenged by this movie that was only trying to be funny. I was born in 97 though, so I could just be a dumbass. Anyways, the gang chases X down. X survives by hiding in a dumpster.
Hello, motherfucker.
And now the coast is clear and he can safely return back home. When suddenly, a superimposed flying meteor rushes towards this nigga. Like, why are you running straight, nephew? You supposed to zigzag, OG. The old heads ain't taught you that yet. Lil Nas ends up getting got while this special effects sequence plays out that I'm sure that they were proud of for the time. And, well,
The motherfucker was dead.
doctors tried to revive mans, but they just end up medically baffled. They did do all they could though. And now his condition is up to the big man to decide.
Hey, man.
Excuse me.
Woo! Who that? Is that the 1990s equivalent of Tiana Trump? Give me that! It turns out Lil Nas X survived expeditiously, and the entire hospital is amazed at the miracle. But little do they know, he acquired superhuman abilities! Miles intelligence! He can pick up any book and know all the contents of it for like 30 seconds. No, shut up, it's super cool. X-ray vision, kinda! Like, he can see through clothes, but not the underwear, and a wall or two, and talk to animals! Which is okay. I mean, look guys, all of this is within the budget. Give it a chance. Out of the hospital now, homie Eddie Griffin catches wind of said powers. But he ain't the only one that does though, as we make way for a mute Bill Cosby role. Which is the amount of effort that I expected, but I'm actually very fascinated he doesn't have one word of dialogue in this movie. No zippity zwee, no beeping and the bopping, or any other jello pudding bops. Just him and his funny faces, which made me curious on how much they paid for the nigga. And upon further research, I learned that Bill Cosby offered his services for $1 every day he was on set to help on how expensive the film already was, which is awfully nice. What a good guy, actually. It almost makes you want to forget about all the negative media about the guy over the last 7 years. Almost. The neighborhood soon catches wind of Montero having powers when he single-handedly stops the Golden Lords all on his own. By the way, I forgot to mention that these blonde niggas are called the Golden Lords.
Seatbelts. Gotta wear your seatbelts.
And you know what? This was an actually pretty good scene. Anytime I see a black man taking out gangs single-handedly without killing them, always brings a smile to my face. That the bitch made is getting her just desserts. It is literally why I like the Luke Cage Netflix series so much. He literally just walks up into trap houses and starts curb stomping them niggas. After the Golden Lords couldn't stop X last time with combat, the next day they decided to go with something more. God damn! In broad daylight? Yeah, nah, he done up.
He's eyed.
The goons are then baffled, and then they run it back. But little did they know, this man could fly too! Which was enough to stop their antics short for the day. And for all the weirdness constantly escalating for Little Nas, his parents are embracing the fact that he should be a superhero. And he's just not feeling the idea. So they peer pressure him instead, but he still doesn't bite. Until the Goku equivalent of Krillin dying puts him in the right mindset, as senseless gang violence is done on this poor, defenseless old black lady. So now, it's time for a 90s montage! This ain't 90s music. There's a scene during this that made me nerd rage where his mom is making his costume and she looks at an Iron Man comic for pointers on a cape, and I was like, you a damn fool. Iron Man don't wear no cape. Who wrote this?
Get your goofy ass the fuck out of here, nigga.
Our hero's costume is done, making him now Meteor Man, bringing peace to his community, busting down crack houses, and solving gang wars. Who knew that a bulletproof Negro could solve all world's problems? Drug dealer higher-ups see the news of Meteor Man foiling their evil plans. There's this side plot of X potentially having a love interest only to be cucked by Sinbad.
How are you doing, my beautiful sisters? And you must be Jeff. Brother, I heard a lot about you. I'm kind of nervous, I'm new at this. This is my first black girlfriend,
And various scenes of the Golden Lords figuring out his true identity. There's an attempt at a conflict between the two friends, but it's squashed like the next minute. And last but not least, we are gradually shown that his powers are slowly getting nerfed the more he uses it. They attempt to explain why it's happening. It has something to do with sleep or something, man. I don't know, man. I was kind of tapped out on the film by this time, just like you are with this video. Matter of fact, if you made it this far, type Batista in the comments so we can confuse everybody. Anyways, this backward ass town tells Meteor Man to fuck off after they were the ones that told him to save the neighborhood in the first place. And Meteor Man says, alright, but before he can leave, he has one more debt to settle with the Golden Lord's leader. And since he has no superpowers now, more than likely he'll just run like his bitch made stuff in the beginning, right? Nah, son, he in there. You know what I'm saying? He taking that shit like a man.
I like that. Talk your shit. Get up in their fucking face.
They beat his ass, and with a change of heart, the whole neighborhood chimes in to help the poor guy and Bill Cosby, which eventually escalated to Bill's part of the meteor being up for grabs. And without a second thought, Blondie and Mustachio grab it, and now they both got powers. And boy, does this part of the movie drag on for like 10 minutes. It's just a bunch of sight gags and looking around. Pretty bad in current day standards, but I'm sure that the 90s kids were loving this shit back then. If you want to watch a better version of the scene, go watch Luke Cage vs. Diamondback. It's literally the same thing, done better. It's actually the only reason I knew of this movie's existence in the first place before even reviewing it, because somebody jokingly compared the two. The movie ends off with Meteor Man saving the day, Bill Cosby saving his dog who died during the battle, and Crips and Bloods taking down the drug lords. Pretty good, with the ending shot being Meteor Man freeze framing with a heroic smile as we fade out. $20 million well spent. Well, as you guys can guess, the movie bombed, it flopped, it was a financial failure, and a lot asked, how could it fail with such an all-star cast lineup at the time? Oh, well that's easy. Because this nigga was on the cover. More than likely, as soon as the trailer for this movie was hitting theaters at the time, I'm sure a majority was like, who? And not because they didn't know him. It was because he insisted on playing the leading role like people were going to throw money at it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the budget was already tight as it was, but maybe they could have got rid of like 2 or 3 people to get, I don't know, Eddie Murphy to be Meteor Man instead. Townsend could have still directed it. I don't care, but I know damn well Eddie would have added some creative liberty or something for replayability like he does for most of his movies. I don't know. Am I being mean? My bad. I thought the actor for the Golden Lord's leader, Roy Fagan, was really good. He was also someone I've never heard of, but his body language in this film was fucking crazy. It actually made me want to see more of his works. But funny enough, he retired shortly after this film, and now his son is on Disney Channel. Pretty good. Look, there's a lot going on with this film that's too much for words. Like, this man gave Marvel the rights to make comics for this shit, which means canonically, Meteor Man is in the MCU, which is also owned by Disney, which will make a second hero Disney owns from Townsend. Oh, what's that? Y'all don't remember Up, Up, and Away?
Sorry about this, son, but have a great day.
Quit giving this man money. Hey man, give it up to Prim and Hook for holding it down. Shaqspert and Kiwi is new in town. Scott Davos Darden. God, I love you all, man. Wacky Deli 78. Toon Tyreek Nook. Thanks so much for the amazing year. About to go out and buy a beer. Wait a minute. I don't drink. What am I? Fucking queer? Wait a second. Queer string 2. I am not a homophobe, dude. Good thing no one makes it this far, or else I'm fucking screwed.